I thought with HIV now, once I take Babu's cup, I'm done.
Hiyo ilikuwa naenda kutafuta huko uhai.
Maana wamesema Babu hai huko alikushakufa. Na kumbe nipo.
In a span of 2 years, between 2010 and 2012, AMBILIKILE MWASAPILE or BABU Loliondo had already administered the single cap dose to more than 6 million people, many of them prominent personalities.
Ndege kama hii imetoka Congo DRC yani. Ni ya mama yake Kabila. Kulikuwa na umati mkubwa sana hatukujua kama.
Today, the man who was then at the center of the alleged miracle cure has all the memories documented in an autobiography.
Na hapa ni kiongozi wetu wa nchi Bwana Magufuli. Na yeye anakunywa dawa hapa.
Wewe nenda Loliondo ukiwa na imani kwamba tayari Mwenyezi Mungu anileta dawa.
Wakati nilifika tu kwa huyo nikaona basi nimefika kwa Yesu. Sasa mimi napona.
The sweat-drenching journey to Loliondo as one navigates a rocky terrain of Sonjo Plains, where there is neither mobile telephone connection nor any FM radio signal. The dusty pass through the Oldonyo Lengai volcanic mountain. Arriving in Samunge reveals a ghostly, almost deserted village.
Almost a decade later, we are here in Samunge village, the home of self-declared prophet AMBILIKILE MWASAPILE or BABU Loliondo, as many of you knew him. We want to find out if he's still dispensing his wonder drug.
The mad rush has since died down. The helicopters are no longer hovering overhead. The quietude only disturbed by occasional visitors who still come to take Babu's cup.
Sasa nimebadilika, pale naonekana kama mzee zaidi kuliko.
MWASAPILE is no longer that frail old man we all knew. He has grown somewhat plump. The homestead too has undergone a complete transformation, from the mud and wattle sing room that used to be his house to this self-contained bungalow. To sum up the retired pastor's rising economic status, Babu acquired a truck and a 4-wheel drive Land Cruiser. But even with the number of visitors now reduced to a trickle, MWASAPILE still brews his secret potion.
Kuchemshia dawa. Kama unavyoona sufuria ndio hii. Sasa hivi dawa iko jikoni nachemka. Naona. Sufuria hii tunachemsha kwa sababu sasa hivi ni watu wachache, lakini miaka iliyopita tulichemsha masufuria makubwa 3 yako kule nje. Lakini kwa kuwa sasa watu ni wachache, tunachemsha sufuria kidogo. Na hii hapa ndio jikoni. Na dawa ndio kama hizo unazoziona hapa. Ni hizi. Watu tunachimba milimani. Tukileta tunakwangua udongo wote, tunakwangua na kisu, tunakwangua. Tunakata tunaosha, alafu naweka ndani ya sufuria jikoni. Napanga vikombe vinajaa, alafu napima. Na hiki ndicho kipimo cha dawa. Naona ni tofauti na vikombe vingine. Ndicho kipimo. Sikukinunua hiki kikombe, lakini ni muujiza tu wa Mungu alitoa. Nilikikuta ndani ya nyumba. Aliniambia kikombe cha kupimia dawa ni hiki. Lakini baadaye nikakuta kingine tena kimeongezeka.
In fact, he's now building an expanded facility.
Hapa ni chumba cha dawa yenyewe.
Perhaps believing that the millions that once thronged this place will someday make a return. The story that still reads like the script of a thriller movie started with a dream in 1991, according to the 85-year-old former cleric.
Mungu akanitokea kwenye ndoto akaniambia watu wanakwisha na ugonjwa wa ukimwi. Nitakupa dawa ambayo itaondoa ukimwi. Akanionyesha mti unaonekana hapa. Nilishangaa sana Mungu kuniambia maneno kama hayo. Maana yake wazungu wamehangaika na ukimwi wameshindwa. Inakuwaje mti huo uondoe ugonjwa wa ukimwi? Sikufanya kitu chochote. Mpaka ilipofika mwaka 2009 ndipo alinitokea tena akaniambia ile kazi niliyokuambia anza sasa.
Later, he would start administering his supposed cure to patients with cancer, diabetes and other chronic diseases.
Mtu akisha kunywa dawa baada ya siku 7 virusi vimekwisha. Maana yake amepona, tunaandika amepona baada ya siku 7. Lakini wale virusi wataendelea kudondoka pole. Maana yake nini kusema baada ya siku 7 wale virusi hawatamshambulia mwilini mwake tena.
From the multitudes estimated at 6 million, the number began to drop drastically. In a single day, Babu and his staff would serve approximately 18,000 cups, but that has since calmed down to 10 or 20 on a good day. MWASAPILE attributing the drop to many factors, including rumors of his death and propaganda.
Wengine wa ndani ya makanisa tu, madhehebu fulani, sitaki kuyataja, lakini madhehebu fulani ndio yameona wivu yakatangaza ile kwamba hao wamekufa. Kuna waganga wa kienyeji waliona watu wote wameminika kuja kwangu, wametangaza wao wamekufa, msiende tena. Unaona? Na wengine watu wengine wenye wivu.
Out of curiosity, I take a sip of Babu's drink. Well, it tastes just like many ordinary herbs.
Yakiiva yanakuwa zambarau.
According to Babu, it was not the plant itself that contained the cure. It was the distilled drink, which he insists contained the power of Jesus. The drink had to be brewed solely by Reverend MWASAPILE himself and consumed only within the gates of his compound. And he says it would only work on those who truly believed it was a cure.
Alikuja hapa, akanywa dawa, lakini anasema hapana. Kuwa Babu alinidanganya, kupona ukimwi na sijapona ukimwi.
Inawezekana hakupona, alienda kuongeza ukimwi. Unajua watu wengi walisema dawa imepatikana kwa Babu, sasa muda wetu wa kutembea ndio huu. Na ukinywa dawa ukipona, muogope Mungu, sio kwamba uendelee kutenda maovu, kwenda kutafuta wanawake kwa sababu dawa iko kwa Babu. Haitawezekana. Inawezekana huyu aliyekwambia hivyo, inawezekana alikunywa dawa na akaendelea na mambo ya zinaa.
But many scientists are now convinced that this so-called miracle cure actually caused more harm than good. Kenya's Ministry of Health has no actual numbers of those who went to seek treatment in Loliondo, but a significant proportion of the patients who sought Babu's cure came from Kajiado County, and the effects remain to date, according to HIV specialist Dr. Peter Cherotich.
And even now, we're still worried because the retention rates or the number of people who are dropping out of treatment, HIV treatment, in Kajiado area is still very high.
But more worrying to the health specialists are the complications that come with abandoning ARVs.
The herbal medicine doesn't work on HIV, that we know. And so the moment you stop taking your ARVs, the amount of virus in your blood begins to rise again. Because the way the ARVs work is that they suppress the virus in the blood. And it begins then to affect your body once more. And that's when you actually begin to get opportunistic infections. The other thing that happens when you stop your ARVs is that depending on the duration that you've stopped, when you are restarted again, when you restart ARVs, it could be that your ARVs then are not able to work because the virus has developed resistance over time. So you may get resistance to your treatment. If you have enough people who have resistance to ARVs, it's possible that this resistance can actually be transmitted to other people through sex, because people on treatment are also having sex.
Mti tunaotumia dawa ni huu.
The source of the concoction has since been identified as a common plant known as Carissa edulis,
nilipanda kamche kadogo hivi,
or mriga in Kiswahili. The plant grows across Africa and Asia. It has always been exploited for traditional medicine amongst host communities such as the Maasai in Kenya and Tanzania. But it has never been listed as a recognized cure for any disease, let alone HIV and AIDS. We took a sample of the root to the Science Laboratories complex at Kenyatta University. We wanted to find out the chemical composition of the tree and the medicinal properties, if any, associated with each component. Dr. Matthew Ngugi and his team at the Biochemistry and Biotechnology Department subjected the roots to a number of tests, including antioxidant and antiviral, among others. His verdict confirms what is already the suspicion of thousands whose relatives died in spite of taking the Loliondo drink. Dr. Ngugi says the medicinal qualities of mriga are of little significance. In specific quantities, it can be used to manage fever, pain, and even inflammation. But it is nowhere near being a cure for HIV and AIDS, let alone being the universal cure.
The claims that it can be used to cure HIV, diabetes, cancer, and so on, have no empirical data. We don't have any scientific data to support that.
In his report, Dr. Ngugi concludes, and I quote, "The traditional use of Carissa edulis in management and treatment of various diseases can partly be justified and supported. However, it should not be concluded that the plant is a magic bullet against all known and unknown ailments." The report further says studies on bioactivity of each of these ailments will importantly impact on the use of the plant in herbal medicine. Dr. Ngugi says safety concerns still linger over its use in living organisms, thereby necessitating further research.
There is potential, but it is too early to take it as an alternative to the conventional drugs that are there against some of the diseases that people say this plant can cure. There is a lot that needs to be done. A lot of work is required because, yes, there is activity, but this activity is very minimal. There are other compounding factors like safety concerns and other pharmacological properties that have not been done.
While research cannot support Babu's assertion that this plant has the ability to cure HIV and AIDS, sociologists say traditional healers like Babu play a crucial role where the healthcare system is dysfunctional.
We look at our own health services in the developing world, or in the South, if you want to use that term, and you can see it's not meeting the need. So you could write very good policy and say, you know, people should go to the hospital and they'll be treated for free. But if the hospital is 10 kilometers away, I've got to weigh my odds. I've got this sick patient, can I get there? And even when I get there, will I find a doctor? And even if I do get there and find a doctor, is there medicine? So the whole cascade of events. So this person who presents himself as a cure-all, know-it-all, is filling in a gap.
She says traditional medicine is almost indispensable and that governments have to find ways of integrating them into mainstream through strict regulation.
And so alternative medicine, just broadly speaking, should not be shunned, but it should be seen as, one, an alternative that is present, that those who would be comfortable with it can access it, but within the confines of legitimacy, in the sense that you can patent some things, you'd be able to set standards, you can, evidence-based.
Such regulations will, of course, be too late for the thousands who traveled to Loliondo for treatment, but ended up as dark statistics in a bizarre health tragedy that engulfed East Africa for nearly 2 years. The real damage of the so-called wonder drink from Loliondo may never be known, but the tales are captured in the many graves that dot homes across Kenya and the families left grieving for their kin. Those who live to tell the tale know it was an expensive experiment that took a toll on the very health they had gone to secure. Pamela, Asigi, Citizen TV.